Oh, great. It's another week. And before we get into one of the dumbest stories to kick this month off, we should probably cover a cold, heartless, cringe-inducing and absurd story that's been playing out with Republican Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa, who, like many other Republican representatives over the past few months, faced her constituents in a very tense town hall where they were expressing their justifiable concerns over the spending bill that will gut Medicaid and other government programs in order to give large tax breaks to the wealthiest Americans.
No, those were Iowa Antifans.
Yeah, that's right.
Antifa Iowans.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, not real Americans there. Those
not true American
infiltrators.
Patriots. Yeah. Now, while speaking to the crowd, Ernst was defending the cuts when someone in that crowd correctly shouted out that people are going to die. And Ernst responded in arguably the worst possible way by pointing out that, well, we're all going to die.
So people are not, well, we all are going to die. So for heaven's sakes, folks, okay.
Hey man, people die every day.
What a bizarre response.
You think I'm going to cheat death up here? No, we all got to go at some time.
So let's hurry it up,
Yeah.
people, hurry it up.
I mean, it's a cold, heartless thing to say in any situation.
Yeah.
But particularly
when you're about to take people's access to healthcare away.
Was it healthcare?
Well, Medicaid.
Oh, Medicaid.
Yeah.
I thought it was food.
And SNAP, yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, it is very cold and heartless to be like, hey, so the most vulnerable of you, unfortunately, yes, we are all going to die, but you'll be going first.
Yeah. I mean, listen, survival of the fittest, you know.
That's RFK's whole thing. So.
Yeah, if you don't live through these cuts, you weren't cut out.
Did you deserve it anyway?
You weren't cut out for living. So yeah, in any normal world, this would have been seen as an almost career-ending move. And her excuse that the cuts to programs like Medicaid and SNAP will benefit Iowans falls flat because at this point, everyone has seen how this administration is operating.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to hide it at this point.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is going to hurt people instead of help them based on gestures wildly, everything that's been going on.
Yeah.
Especially the people who recently have been like, I didn't vote for this every time something actually finally affects them.
Yeah, they voted for a made-up version of this administration because this only within their minds.
Yeah, because Trump promised them all their hopes and dreams would come true, and none of the bad stuff. Only the good things will happen.
You would hope that people would learn from this.
No, they won't. No, they absolutely will not.
People don't remember shit from a year ago.
No,
they will forget this. And they will repeat the same mistakes over and over again.
Donald Trump doesn't remember that he was running against Kamala Harris in the last election, let alone anything that happened a week ago.
That was almost a whole year ago. Anyway, the whole point of these town halls is for elected officials to hear from their constituents and fight for them by altering the bill so that it doesn't put vulnerable people in their that they represent.
Yeah, the people who voted for them.
In a far worse situation, while also causing, rural hospitals and nursing homes to shut down due to lack of funding.
And I'd say Iowa's probably a place that could really go for some healthcare in not major cities outside of Des Moines.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of parts of this country, particularly in the middle, where the distance between vital services is it's pretty severe,
quite vast.
Even, on a good day, and they're about to get a lot worse where, you got to go to the hospital. I hope you got gas in the tank.
Well, luckily here in Iowa, we use ethanol in our gasoline, and it goes apparently a lot faster.
Sweet American corn ethanol.
Whew.
But, she just clapped back at the haters, I guess, with the dumbest and most heartless reply possible.
So she said...
What are you going to do about it?
She said, well, we're all going to die anyway. And then instead of being like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that, she clapped back at everyone.
Yeah, she doubled down. She did not apologize, although she kind of made it sound like she might.
Yeah.
She didn't shut the fuck up, which is rule number one.
Yeah, when shit hits the fan, you shut the fuck up.
Nor did she provide an actual apology. She did a secret third thing, and she shamelessly doubled down while having a little trollish fun at it.
Yeah, it was... even more disturbing than the first off-the-cuff remark.
Especially how close you can see into her eyes, and there's just a void staring back. So first, in the immediate aftermath of the town hall, her office somehow attempted to blame Democrats. Here's the Hill.
A spokesperson for Ernst said the senator is focused on improving the lives of all Iowans and accused Democrats of trying to whip up fear among voters for political reasons. While Democrats fearmonger against strengthening the integrity of Medicaid, Senator Ernst is focused on improving the lives of all Iowans, the spokesperson said. Obviously, that wasn't enough, though, because by Sunday, Ernst released an apology video that would make even the most reprehensible YouTubers blush by sarcastically mocking the critics while walking through a goddamn cemetery. She went on site for something. She's like, okay, I got an idea. Let's go to the cemetery where a bunch of dead people are.
The joke is 90% there, but just needs one more. Yes, the cemetery. That'll really get him. That'll really block out the haters.
And before we show the clip, we should remind you that the critics that she's responding to are people who don't want to lose healthcare coverage or access to food. So here you go.
Hello, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely apologize for a statement that I made yesterday at my town hall. I was in the process of answering a question that had been asked by an audience member when a woman who was extremely distraught screamed out from the back corner of the auditorium, "People are going to die." And I made an incorrect assumption that everyone in the auditorium understood that, yes, we are all going to perish from this earth. So I apologize. And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well. But for those that would like to see eternal and everlasting life, I encourage you to embrace my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Obviously ghoulish behavior, and quite shocking to try and turn it into a joke when really all that happened was a bunch of Iowa voters took time out of their days to attend a town hall where they could and should be able to speak to the people that they voted into office and express their concerns to them. But sure, Joni, we're all gonna die one day. But you're about to approve a bill that would make sure that the poorest and most vulnerable people in your state die first. It's like shoving a child off a Titanic lifeboat so you can afford another designer purse once you finally get to shore.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Got the nice purse, didn't I?
God.
And only the most deserving of us will get those spots on the lifeboat.
So yeah, what a horrible, horrible person.
Yeah.
Just awful. But if the cuts to Medicaid aren't enough, let's move on to a story that is somehow even dumber. The current FEMA chief has shocked his employees by claiming that he was unaware that the country has, something called a hurricane season?
It really snuck up on me.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure hurricanes just sort of happen at random times.
Well, now that we've taken the hurricane gun away from Joe Biden, there won't be any more hurricanes, so there's no need for a hurricane season.
Florida's actually gonna go up. It's not gonna go down.
Oh, hurricane season? You mean the Miami college football team? Let's go!
And you know what? We'll give him half credit here because thanks to climate change, I guess you could say there is no hurricane season because the entire year is hurricane season.
Yeah, or at least it's becoming that way. They happen later and earlier and all that.
But no, David Richardson, the head of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, indicated to staff that he was unaware of hurricane season, which is pretty alarming considering it officially started on Sunday. And it's pretty alarming because this is your fucking job.
Yeah,
this is what you're supposed to, just the most basic fucking shit about disasters and what FEMA does.
Yes, and not to mention, hurricanes are becoming more frequent and, of course, more intense. So you would think that they would take this a lot more seriously.
So, I don't know, maybe he's just operating FEMA like RFK Jr. is handling the Department of Health. If you just ignore everything, act like it doesn't exist, and maybe, I don't know, eat some fries cooked in beef tallow.
Yeah.
We'll all be fine.
Yeah, I mean, look, your roof might get ripped off by a hurricane, but you're going to have delicious, healthy French fries.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you will not be autistic anymore.
Nope.
I mean, gotta say, it doesn't make us feel very confident in the agency's ability to handle the inevitable disasters that will take place over the next few months as tropical waters continue to heat up. In red states,
Yeah, a lot. A lot of red states.
Mostly in red states. So
And some of those states are already feeling the FEMA cuts because they've been ravaged by tornadoes, which we will get to.
a sentence you're going to be hearing a lot is, wait, I didn't vote for this.
I know. You can see it coming a mile away.
I mean, you're already hearing it, but you're going to be hearing it a lot.
Much like the hurricanes themselves, you can see that quote coming from a very long distance.
Anyway, here's Reuters with more on this stupid motherfucker.
Yeah. Staff of the Federal Emergency Management Agency were left baffled on Monday after the head of the U.S. Disaster Agency said during a briefing that he had not been aware the country has a hurricane season, according to 4 sources familiar with the situation. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, forecast last week that this year's season is expected to bring as many as 10 hurricanes. The remark was made by David Richardson, who has led FEMA since early May. It was not clear to staff whether he meant it literally, as a joke, or in some other context.
What other context could there be?
A secret third context. A spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security, FEMA's parent agency, said the comment was a joke and that FEMA is prepared for hurricane season. But I don't know, folks. I don't really feel like senators and also the heads of disaster relief agencies should be cracking wise during a time of massive political turmoil and funding cuts that will almost certainly damage their ability to respond to things that can and will kill people.
But they were going to die anyway.
And the response from the spokesperson doesn't exactly fill us with confidence either, because the reporting continues.
The spokesperson said under Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and Richardson, FEMA is shifting from bloated, DC-centric dead weight to a lean, deployable disaster force that empowers state actors to provide relief for their citizens. Richardson said during the briefing that there would be no changes to the agency's disaster response plans, despite having told staff to expect a new plan in May.
Ooh.
What month is it now? Oh, it's June. Richardson's comments come amid widespread concern that the departures of a raft of top FEMA officials, staff cuts, and reductions in hurricane preparations will leave the agency ill-prepared for a storm season forecast to be above normal. Hurricanes kill dozens of people and cost hundreds of millions of dollars annually across a swath of U.S. states every year. The storms have become increasingly more destructive and costly due to the effects of climate change, allegedly. Allegedly. Richardson's comment purporting ignorance about hurricane season spread among agency staff, spurring confusion and reigniting concern about his lack of familiarity with FEMA's operations, said 3 sources. Richardson, who has no disaster response experience, said during Monday's briefing, a daily all-hands meeting held by phone and video conference, that he will not be issuing a new disaster plan because he does not want to make changes that might counter the FEMA Review Council, the sources said.
Yeah, and quick reminder, I know it was mentioned there, but this guy, the current head of FEMA, he's only been on the job for less than a month, after the previous leader of FEMA was ousted by Trump after he was critical of Trump's plans to just get rid of the agency entirely.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, we probably shouldn't do that. And he's like, well, you're fucking fired. And the new guy comes in and he's like, don't worry. We got a big new plan and everyone's going to love it. And by the way, this new plan is going to come out by the end of May at the very least. So, never mind. We're not going to do a new plan. And also, what's hurricane season? I don't know. So all of this and the fact that FEMA has already signaled that they will push a lot of relief to the states instead of using federal funding doesn't exactly bode well for what's coming, especially when a lot of those states are already fucking broke.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, again, I didn't vote for this. Wait.
Yes, you did.
Hold on. But before, states that don't have hurricanes all the fucking time were paying for my hurricane state to rebuild every fucking year.
Oh.
What happened?
Anyways, communities that have already been affected by extreme weather are getting a front row seat to how this new FEMA is operating. And surprise, it doesn't look great. In just the past few weeks, tornadoes have ravaged towns across the country, and the agency has been hesitant in some cases to even make a declaration that would release funds and support. In other cases, the agency has been hamstrung by budget and staffing cuts initiated by DOJ and, of course, at the behest of the Trump administration. In one recent example where FEMA did respond in a somewhat timely manner, it exposed just how unprepared the agency is.
In April, heavy rainfall led to major flooding in what is now Kentucky's wettest year on record. And so far in 2025, more than 42 tornadoes have been reported. London, Kentucky police and Laurel County officials have set up sites for residents to pick up supplies, and several shelters have been opened. FEMA is also on the ground, officials tell CBS News, but the agency is facing its own challenges after it lost about a third of its staff. About 1,800 employees took the Trump administration's buyout offer, a top former FEMA official told CBS News. Another 200 or so probationary workers were also fired. Last week, this would have been mid-May based on the article's published date, CBS News reported on an internal FEMA review that said the disaster relief agency is, quote, not ready for the hurricane season, which officially begins in June, which is now.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Congress is reviewing the Trump administration's proposal to slash FEMA's budget, nixing $646 million in non-disaster grants during the 2026 fiscal year.
And yeah, it feels very bad to see what's coming and know that they are ill prepared, especially having family in Florida, but also family that voted for these guys. It's very
Wait, but
upsetting.
I didn't vote for this.
It's very upsetting, especially after last year where they just got pummeled time after time.
Mm-hmm.
And towns in especially North Carolina are just finally starting to see some shred of normalcy, and it is nowhere near fully back to normal either.
And I mean, well, that hurricane was unusual.
Yeah.
Though probably less and less unusual as we go along. But yeah, hurricanes aren't supposed to cross mountains.
Yeah, well,
But they do that now. That's something they do.
And they didn't used to hit the west coast of Florida all that often unless they were coming across the entire state. But the way that everything's happening now, the Gulf of America, probably because of the name change, is cooking up a lot more big storms than it used to. And those big storms have a different trajectory. Because they used to just hit the side of Florida and then go up and out into the Atlantic.
They named it Gulf of America to make it less spicy.
Yeah.
Gulf of, Mexico.
That's right. They took Joe Biden's hurricane gun and they renamed the Gulf of Mexico. So what hurricane season, right?
Yeah.
All right. Look, this is important stuff, and we're not trying to be Debbie Downers. We're just attempting to help sound the alarm so that people keep speaking out against Trump's big, beautiful bill, which, in addition to those Medicaid cuts, also hits agencies like FEMA with massive cuts, as we just said. So call your senators, and if you can, show up to town halls, even if your senators respond like dickheads and make fools of themselves. Because at some point, shame might work, or at the very least, it might make people finally realize that they voted for shit like this and potentially, maybe, one day vote these people out of office. And that is a lot of hopium right there.
Yeah, I mean, or at the very least, don't forget
why this is happening.
4 months, 5 months from now, when shit is a disaster, why it's that much of a disaster. Your average American does not have a good memory, but you should, when they're complaining about how fucked up shit is.
Yeah. They're still using the like Biden $1,000, $700 checks, which was obviously, again, going over, it was for immediate like hotels and food and medical supplies, not the actual funds. But, obviously that won't happen again, right? But the best we can do now is make a lot of noise. So we're going to put the 5 calls link in the description again, in case you want to see what you can do to make your voice heard to your elected officials.
It feels really cool and good to call up your elected official and calmly but sternly give them a piece of your mind.
Yeah.
And they have to write it down.
Yeah, and they do have scripts available if you kind of are just nervous or whatever. So for now, though, let's move on to the dumber, yet far less consequential side of things as a nice break from the horrors. Apparently, Donald Trump believes that at some point, Joe Biden was killed and replaced by a robot. And I simply got to squat on the term Cyborg Joe because it's too good to pass up. But the implication is real. Trump, at the very least, shared a conspiracy theory that claims that Biden was assassinated and replaced by a robot.
I do like the idea that we have the technology to make a robot that appears 100% lifelike, but we don't have the technology to make that robot not seem 100% senile.
Yeah. Yeah, like this is the best the technology is right now.
We got the like physical appearance, the aesthetic side of it.
It looks
we got that
damn near
so
perfect.
fucking good, but like getting the robot to like speak in coherent sentences, we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, well, with the advancement of AI, you see, even last year AI wasn't as good, so it took a long time to analyze those Trump responses, and then it glitched out. So maybe he's on to something. He's not.
This is so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah, reminder: Trump won the election, and it is bizarre that he's still talking about an opponent that wasn't even the candidate that he ran against by the time the election actually happened.
Yeah.
But here we are. And over the weekend, Trump shared a post on his Truth social account from another user who appears to be just fully schizo-posting, based not only on this bizarre conspiracy, but also just the amount of hashtags and mentions after the post.
You have to scroll to see how many hashtags and mentions there are on this post.
What year is it? Who's still using hashtags? Get out.
The people on Truth Social are doing it.
So the post itself, again, shared by the President of the United States, claimed that there is no Joe Biden. He was executed back in 2020. Biden clones, doubles, and robotic engineered soulless, mindless entities are what you see. Democrats don't know the difference.
I love the implication that, like, conservative voters all knew that this was a robot. It's like, we have to do whatever we can to make sure the robots don't take over.
I heard the gears clanking.
Yeah.
Telltale sign.
God.
And listen, we cannot state enough how bizarre it is that the current president would share baseless conspiracy theories at all, but also, like, you know, she's shared conspiracy, but this is
Joe Biden as a robot.
This is a new low. This is so outrageous, so stupid. And again, why? What's the point? You already won. He didn't even run against you. Joe Biden is dying. Why are you? What is the fucking point of this shit?
And a lot of Democrats fucking hated him too at the end.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know what point you're trying to make.
I mean, I think I'll tell you what it is. It's like, as shitty as this administration is, and as more and more people who may have, you know, just on a lark voted for him realize that maybe this sucks. He wants to, you know, don't forget how much Joe Biden sucks.
Yeah, don't forget he's a robot. Also, he's not the candidate that you ran against.
Yeah, but he is the previous president.
Sure.
Again, Americans have no long-term or short-term memory. So he's being like, listen, as shitty as this is right now, just do you remember how shitty it was under Joe Biden? This is pretty good, actually, by comparison.
Seems to have very selective memory because still, even now, 6 months in, Besant and others in the administration are saying that this is the Biden economy, the way things are going now. It has nothing to do with the tariffs or the turmoil or the fact that people are scared to fucking come here or travel out of the country and come back.
This is like the Biden economy. Biden did the lockdowns when he was president in 2020.
Like, I know that I talk about Florida a lot because I grew up there, but like, it is such a bizarre conundrum to, on one hand, destroy the tourism industry, and on the other hand, make sure that they are ill prepared for a very destructive hurricane season. Yeah. In a state where the president fucking lives.
They're doing the Pain Olympics down there. They're getting off.
The enhanced Pain Olympics. Jesus.
Anyway, I guess that's as good a spot as any to take a break.
Woo!
And thank our sponsor for allowing us the privilege to continue bringing this show to you. Fine, beautiful, big, beautiful people.
Smart people. You can see through all this bullshit.
Yeah.
And it makes us sound crazy for screaming it at you.
And first up, listen up. It's Turtle Beach.
Yeah. What's up, gamers?
Remember the feeling of booting up your favorite game for the first time, the late night sessions, the epic wins, the sound of the lobby filling up with friends. Gaming wasn't just something you did, it was a whole experience, and the right headset made all the difference. Turtle Beach is bringing that feeling back with the Gen 3 Stealth 700 headset. It's like stepping into the golden age of gaming all over again, only this time the audio is richer, the surround sound is more immersive, and the battery lasts an insane 80 hours. No more crackly mics, no more missed callouts, just pure, uninterrupted gaming, exactly the way you remember it, but better. For a limited time only, get 10% off your entire order with code TODAYDAILY at turtlebeach.com. Don't miss out. Stay cool and level up your game with 10% off at turtlebeach.com using promo code TODAYDAILY.
We've both been rocking this headset for a while now, and not only is it super comfortable, and not only does the sound quality definitely give you an edge, the battery life is insane. And I do have to say, I don't play too many multiplayer games anymore, but Doom Dark Ages on this headset is an experience. Gotta love the music, gotta love the blood and guts. It is very nice having a wireless headset that you almost never have to even think about charging. And also, the Stealth 700 has the industry's first ever cross-play dual wireless transmitter system. And that means you can seamlessly switch between your console and PC with just a click of a button. It gets even better. While being connected to your console, the Stealth 700 can connect with your phone for music streaming or taking calls at the same time. No, Dad, I'm listening. Yeah, I'm listening. Listen to your favorite songs while gaming, all done with the Stealth 700.
Or your favorite YouTube show.
That's right. Turtle Beach doesn't just have amazing headsets, though. They have every gaming accessory you could ever want, and they're all high quality at prices that don't break the bank. From flight and racing simulators to controllers, keyboards, and mice, Turtle Beach is the ultimate gaming cheat code. So head to turtlebeach.com and use our code TODAYDAILY for 10% off your entire order. That is 10% off your order at turtlebeach.com with promo code TODAYDAILY. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Get the ultimate immersive gaming experience with Turtle Beach today.
This episode is also sponsored by Shopify. When we started this show, it seemed like we had to figure out pretty much everything on our own. Scripts, setup, filming schedule, graphics, editing, the countless audio issues. It was super overwhelming, and every day seemed to introduce a new decision that needed an answer. When you're starting off with something new, it seems like your to-do list keeps growing every day with new tasks, and that list can easily begin to overrun your life. Finding the right tool that not only helps you out, but simplifies everything can be such a game changer. And for millions of businesses, that tool is Shopify.
Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US. From household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands that are just getting started. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand's style. Get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you, and easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into big money with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/itdaily. Go to shopify.com/itdaily. That is shopify.com/itdaily.
Okay, back to the news, and we're going to start it out with a little bit of a lighter note here, because, folks, not only is Mike Lindell back in the news for even more lawsuits, he's apparently going to bring a pillow to court because, as you may remember, he got really upset when one of the opposing lawyers in one of his many defamation cases called his pillows lumpy.
How dare you? How dare you?
It deeply, deeply offended him on a level that is only rivaled by his insistence that a bunch of voting machine companies colluded to rig the 2020 election, which was nearly 5 years ago at this point, and also demonstrably untrue. The outburst came during a recorded deposition for the case, which was released back in 2023. In the clip, Lindell is responding to a lawyer who brings up complaints filed by MyPillow customers. And, well, here's what he said in response.
Yeah, it's always fun to go over this. And with a new update, why not bring back one of the classics?
Mr. Lindell, you have a few customers who believe that your pillows are, and I quote, lumpy.
No, they're not lumpy pillows. That's not what they call on. Okay? When you say lumpy pillows, now you're an asshole. You got that? You're an asshole,
Mike,
is what you are.
Mike,
no,
sorry.
he's an asshole.
No,
he's an ambulance chasing asshole. That's what you are. Lumpy pillows, kiss my ass. Put that in your book.
He later appeared on the Alex Jones show to apologize for the outburst, saying at the time, "I lost my cool on that one. That's one I swore in. That's how mad I was. I was out of character by doing that. You can attack me. I can take it. I can take it. You start attacking my pillows, my employees, I got a big problem with that."
So, yeah.
I mean, it hit him right where it hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the pillows.
How dare you? But like with everything else, Mike Lindell just cannot let it go. And he has signaled his intention to bring his fluffiest pillow along with him to court in order to prove that they are not lumpy.
Your Honor, I would like to submit as evidence the most delicate pillow you've ever felt. Now take that one for a spin, Your Honor, and tell me you wouldn't have the best sleep of your life.
Which, again, has nothing to do with his defamation case.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with pillows.
I would like to, in front of the jury, call this man's judgment into question.
Yeah.
I brought pillows for every member of the jury. I'm not sure if this is a jury trial, but I brought pillows for every member of the jury.
I mean, Your Honor, how can they call me a defamer when the opposing counsel has, in this very room, defamed me and my pillows?
Yes.
Which, as you can see, are very fluffy.
Your Honor, take a look at the jury.
I rest my case.
They are asleep.
He also did what he does best in this scenarios like this. He showed up on a far-right podcast in order to make his point. This time around, it was Steve Bannon's War Room. and we'll let Mediaite explain the rest. Lindell is set to appear in Denver federal court this week as part of a defamation lawsuit filed by former employee Eric Coomer. Coomer and his former employer each allege Lindell defamed them by promoting false claims that Dominion machines helped rig the 2020 presidential election against Donald Trump. During an appearance on Steve Bannon's War Room podcast over the weekend, Lindell recounted a previous exchange with an attorney in the case in which one attorney allegedly called his pillows lumpy.
I told my lawyers maybe I should bring him one inside, Lindell told Bannon, who made a pitch for his listeners to buy Lindell's products to fund the legal defense. Lindell told Bannon when he floated bringing a pillow to trial, his attorney said, Mike, let's not go there.
So I fired him.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, this is... who is this attorney? Because so many attorneys have left this case or been fired, I feel like, by Mike Lindell, that, like, this guy's just like, please, Mike.
I'm not,
I'm doing this as a favor.
I'm here for the ride, but please, can you not, let's not make things harder than they need.
No, I think we should bring the pillows. The CEO and election denier said the trial, which begins Monday, is a rare instance of a defendant refusing to settle with Dominion. This is the first trial. Everyone else has taken deals, and they're afraid, he told Bannon. The biggest lawsuit against Lindell and MyPillow was filed in 2021. Dominion is seeking more than $1.3 billion in damages, alleging Lindell used his platform to spread baseless election conspiracy theories, which he also used to boost MyPillow sales. Coomer filed a separate suit for which the trial was scheduled to begin Monday in Colorado. Lindell also used his appearance with Bannon to call for support from customers. We have a lot of inventory. I said, get those prices down so we can get money and get resources for this trial. Why do you have so much inventory, Mike? Maybe it's because people don't buy these pillows anymore because they don't fucking like you.
Well, it's also like pillows are not a growth industry. Like you usually...
These pillows are because they fucking suck.
You usually have just a normal amount of pillows in your home, and you might replace one of them every couple years, but
that's the thing. These have built-in planned obsolescence. They only get lumpy if you don't use them very often.
And when you have not only a pillow company, but a explicitly conservative coded pillow company that half the population refuses to do business with, you're gonna have a lot of inventory.
And Mr. Bannon, wouldn't you know it, we got those prices down to just $14.88.
It is so funny because before all this shit, when he was still he was a public figure.
Yeah.
We knew what he was about. But they were selling MyPillows at Costco in Southern California up until January 6th and all that shit.
So Walmart, all these places had it, and they were just like, I don't think we want to be associated with this guy.
He had it made in the shade. He blew it all up.
And now he's risking it all to lose everything.
Well, he might lose everything, but, let the record state. The pillow is fluffy.
It was the best damn pillow the judge had ever seen.
And that's all that matters.
Yep.
Everything else is just background noise.
Also, while you're on the site, please buy some coffee. I got to get rid of these beans.
Anyway, let's move on now to some news that will hopefully have a very happy ending because both PBS and NPR have now officially sued the Trump administration over his executive order that cut funding to these vital services. Mm-hmm. Here's CNBC with the PBS side of things. The public broadcasting service on Friday sued President Donald Trump to block his attempt to cut off its federal funding and accused the president of retaliating against the nonprofit news outlet over perceived political slights in news coverage. Trump's executive order targeting PBS's funding will upend public television, lawyers for the broadcaster behind Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and Sesame Street wrote in U.S. District Court in Washington, D.C. The U.S. Constitution and the half-century-old law governing public television forbid Trump from attempting to defund PBS or serving as the arbiter of its programming, PBS argued. After careful deliberation, PBS reached the conclusion that it was necessary to take legal action to safeguard public television's editorial independence and to protect the autonomy of PBS member stations, a PBS spokesperson told CNBC in a statement.
And here's NBC with NPR's very similar lawsuit filed by the parent company as well as 3 public radio stations. National Public Radio on Tuesday sued President Donald Trump over his executive order to cease all federal funding for the nonprofit broadcaster. Trump's May 1st order violates the First Amendment's protections of speech and the press and steps on Congress's authority, NPR and 3 other public radio stations wrote in a lawsuit filed in federal court in Washington, D.C. The order, quote, also threatens the existence of a public radio system that millions of Americans across the country rely on for vital news and information, according to the legal complaint against Trump and a handful of top officials in federal agencies. NPR and 3 of its member stations, Colorado Public Radio, Aspen Public Radio, and KSUT Public Radio, want Trump's order permanently blocked and declared unconstitutional. It expressly aims to punish and control plaintiffs' news coverage and other speech the administration deems biased, attorneys for the news outlets wrote. It cannot stand. And yeah, it is important to point out that, like, NPR gives funding to radio stations in rural communities where any news or talk of their local issues would not exist.
Yeah.
Because they rely on that funding to operate in areas that would not have these in the first place.
Sinclair's not going to put a station in a lot of these places if it's not going to get enough ears on it. It's not worth the money and the effort. It's similar to like the U.S. Postal Service versus FedEx and UPS. Like they can choose not to service areas where it's inconvenient for them.
The U.S. Postal Service, they're going to make sure it gets there.
Rain or shine.
And a lot of this, there was a great episode of On the Media recently where Brooke Gladstone interviewed a guy from was the Project 2025 people,
Heritage Foundation.
Heritage Foundation, and it was a very frustrating interview.
Yeah, he sounds like a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
but
that too. But they go into details about certain areas within the United States that those communities, aside from like the NPR programming, rely on weather reports and news about their local communities that they would not get.
Well, why don't they just use their phone? And they're like
why
a
don't
lot
you
of
use
these
the
areas like literally don't have cell phones.
Yeah, and
If they do,
or
it's
internet
fine.
access.
Yeah.
They rely on the radio waves.
Anyway, it is like NPR. It was interesting hearing this from NPR, but they're just like, yeah. First of all, the first thing we decided was like, we're not gonna fucking negotiate with Trump.
Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna we're gonna sue.
Yeah,
that's all we're doing. We're not playing ball with this.
Yeah, because like
bullshit.
it's harder for a company like CBS, which is also like wrapped up in a bunch of Trump bullshit over 60 Minutes for a completely bullshit
Who's
reason.
now being investigated by the state of California.
Yeah,
because what they did to get out of that was essentially bribe the Trump administration to leave them alone. And
yeah, because there's a big merger that's supposed to happen between the parent company.
And so the state of California is just like, you can't do that. That's illegal.
Yeah,
that is a bribe. So we are going to investigate you for it.
Yeah, there's a merger happening between the parent company, and in order to have that merger go through, they thought it'd be a good idea to go ahead and be nice with Trump, and that caused a bunch of the top CBS News people to just fucking quit.
Yeah, because it's ridiculous.
But also sucks for all of us because a lot of like good, critical, but important and factual reporting on this administration is disappearing.
Yeah.
Absolutely disappearing. And that doesn't just count CBS News, PBS, and NPR. That goes for fucking everything. It was just last week, or 2 weeks ago, Business Insider fired a bunch of people and we're like, yeah, we got the AI now.
Yeah, Daily Dot
also
basically doesn't exist anymore either.
Yeah, it's tragic. It's awful. But yeah, hopefully these lawsuits fucking work. It's kind of their only recourse.
I mean, it seems like their case is solid because the president can't make decisions about individual line items in the budget. It's literally not what it's.
They also said a dog couldn't play basketball, and he's up there dunking right now.
This isn't even a dog playing basketball. This is just the president doing something that is like explicitly not his role.
Yeah. Well.
Anyway.
Yeah. Big fingers crossed.
Just so we leave you with another politician looking like a total fucking moron today, apparently Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace of South Carolina,
when she's not busy peeking in on everyone's bathrooms,
she ran an entire bot army on social media in order to bully her critics and elevate herself with praise.
Of course.
This, of course, follows other notable cases of burner accounts run by weird Republicans like Mitt Romney, who ran an account called Pierre Delecto, and our favorite, which would be Republican candidate Dean Browning, who famously had a burner account where he cosplayed as a gay black man.
Outrageous.
But with more on Nancy Mace, who went above and beyond having a burner and instead had a whole bot army, partly controlled by staffers who she enlisted to fight people online on her behalf, here's Wired. Nancy Mace, the South Carolina Republican Congresswoman, often tells her staff that she's a self-taught coder. I would say it was at least a weekly comment, if not daily. says one of several former Mace staffers who spoke with Wired.
And by the way, I do a little coding on the side.
They told me to learn to code, so I did.
Yeah.
Another found her high regard for her skills, somewhat at odds with her demonstrated ability. A principal and unusual use to which Mace put her skills, according to former staffers, was setting up burner accounts on a variety of social media platforms to monitor what people were saying about her and bolster her image. They also claim she requested that staffers make their own burner accounts to defend her online.
We had to make multiple accounts, burner accounts, and go and reply to comments saying things that weren't true. Even Reddit forums.
Oh my
A
God.
former staffer says, we were congressional staff and there were actual things we could be doing to help the constituents. And amidst a separate legal battle with her ex-fiance, a man named Wesley Donahue did consulting work for Mace, but ultimately fired her as a client, saying, you need to know that Nancy Mace is quite the, when I use the word nerd or geek, it's always favorable, but a computer nerd or a computer geek. Donahue said in the deposition, first reported by Fitz News, a conservative-leaning South Carolina outlet. She programs her own bots, and she sets up Twitter burner accounts. This is kind of a thing she does. She sits all night on the couch and programs bots because she's very, very computer savvy. She controls her own voter database. She programs a lot of her own website. She programs Facebook bots and Instagram bots and Twitter bots. It's what she does for fun. In a post on X, Donahue claimed that he stopped working with Mace because he said, quote, I don't have time for her constant egotistical bullshit and drama in my life. Donahue did not return a request for comment.
Hey, I mean, I'm impressed. I wouldn't guess any member of Congress, especially this one in particular, would be up all night coding.
So those are the claims that Donahue heard from her, and the results don't lie. Apparently, she did have burner accounts or bots or whatever, and did tell her staffers to do that. But as we'll get to, the staffers who understood what she was doing was just she was doing it in the most rudimentary sense possible. She wasn't actually sitting there typing in code and she's doing automation or something.
Yeah, you've heard of Hackerman. This is Hackerwoman.
Yeah, she was using pre-existing services to do this.
Mace's staffers shared a similar assessment to that of what Donahue alleged. The Congresswoman was often using rudimentary tools available for anyone with a professional account on social media sites, such as automating comments on her Facebook page for anyone thanking her. I never saw her coding shit, ever, the former staffer said. But I mean, she'd talk about tech a lot. So I don't know, jury's still out here.
No, it sounds like, because they do have, I hate that YouTube does this, and we don't use it, but YouTube has a thing where it's you can have an AI reply to comments. So by the way, if you're watching a fucking video that has the creator replying to a ton of an absurd amount of comments.
Why would they trust? I would never trust an AI to do that.
No, but same with Facebook has all these not consumer, but business tools to make your page more active with your the people that are consuming your product or whatever, or your constituents, which is obviously fucked up. Because the extent of what I've seen from Facebook and Instagram bots that are at least served as an advertisement to talk to is there's one that's the creepy mustard man, and he's a guy covered in mustard.
What?
And then you haven't seen these?
No.
They're bizarre. It's crazy.
Why would I want to talk to the creepy mustard man?
Why would anyone want to? But apparently he's very popular.
Stop making me talk to the mustard man.
I don't want to talk to the mustard man. Anyways, for her part, Mace's comms director denied the claims, of course. But she said, it would be a slap in the face to the taxpayers across the country for me to spend time on their dime commenting on my boss's personal life. The only relationship the Congresswoman cares about is her one with South Carolina.
Yeah, she's going steady with South Carolina.
She is married to her job, and that is all the media should care about. And it's obviously
she's married to her job with all that entails.
And absolutely has nothing to do with this ex-fiance who she claims was taking nude pictures of her and stuff.
Yeah,
it's a total bizarre side story.
She showed what she said was it
was a silhouette of her
she's
naked
claiming,
or something on the floor of the house.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe she's. It just looks like the kind of indoor ring camera that a lot of people fucking have in their house. But she's oh, it's a hidden camera. But I'm also this is. He caught a smudge that I guess was you naked. I don't know.
Yeah, but in regards to that lawsuit against her ex, because that'll explain more of this side of it. Recently, Mace showed a naked silhouette of herself during a House subcommittee hearing on surveillance as part of a running string of allegations she's made against her ex-fiancé, South Carolina businessman Patrick Bryant. And again, there's a lot of allegations, all of which he denied, and that rolls into the consultant that she did with that Donahue guy who was like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah. She's too good at coding.
Yeah.
I can't handle her.
Yeah. It's just a very strange tale that's playing out.
You go into Nancy Mace's house, everything's computer.
Wow, Nancy, everything's computer. But yeah, it's when she is not spending all of her time policing bathrooms around the Capitol and elsewhere. She's on the computer making bots that are like, Nancy Mace is great. And actually, her bathroom's the cleanest one I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's got a great bathroom, and only Nancy's allowed in it.
that's right. Nobody else.
Yeah.
And she doesn't wash her hands because that's her bathroom.
Yeah, and also, you don't need to wash your hands. RFK Jr. is fine.
Yeah, RFK Jr. He's actually sitting downstream.
Yeah.
He's just waiting for that flush.
If you drink raw milk, you don't need to wash your hands.
That's true. I heard it from the government.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's the end of the episode for today. We will be back more with some tech news later in the week and, of course, a bunch of other episodes. But if you're bored in the meantime, some other episodes are going to be popping up here. And we had a real fun one with Weekly Weird this week, so make sure you watch that when it pops up. But in the meantime, please help the channel out. Press the like button. Make sure you click the like button. Like, confetti goes off and everything. If you want to join the channel, you can do that. Thank you for everyone who did that the other day. We really appreciate it. Make sure you're subscribed. And now, watch the videos, leave a comment, talk about whatever you want. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.